Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, which means it's time for another salty Saturday morning where we talk about formerly great franchises and our thoughts about them. Today, we're talking about Strange New Worlds and Obi-Wan Kenobi. I am your frustrated producer, Matthew Kadish, and let me introduce our expert panel of nerds coming at you live this morning. Matt Vader 74. How you doing this morning, buddy?
I'm okay. A little bit of a rough start, but I'm getting there. Getting there, dude. Getting there.
Right on. And Danny the Dork Knight, how you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. Feeling a little naked without my mustache.
Yeah, you got a baby face going on today. What's up with that?
Yeah, I blame this guy right here, right there.
Speaking of which, salty trekker himself, Michael, how you doing?
Hello there.
Sounding good, looking good. And Brian from the Popcast will be joining us in a little bit. He's running a little bit late, as usual. It's Brian time. But we've got a lot to talk about today, and I kind of want to save some of my more salient points for when Brian's here because I want to hear like his response to it. But overall, we're going to be talking about the fourth episode of Strange New Worlds entitled Memento Mori. And we're also going to be talking about the first two episodes of Obi-Wan and maybe a couple other things if we have time. So just want to remind everyone in the chat that, your super chats are appreciated. They go towards supporting the stream, and they do get read on stream with a great introduction from Danny every single time. So if you want to hear Danny's dulcet tones saying super chat, be sure to drop those super chats. And real quick, I just want to give some shout outs to the people in the chat. 47 Yorktown, thank you for being here so early, sir. Anthony Mark, hello. Orwell's son, good to see you. Jason Price, thank you for being here. Anima Confusa, our resident trivia champion, thank you for always turning out for our live streams. We appreciate it. Tabin Atto, thank you for being here. Let's see here. Danny's mom, PJO, good to see you. Darth Maul is here. And Full Metal Smile, thank you all for showing up today. We really appreciate it when you guys come into the chat and interact with us. And we've got a lot to talk about. All right, guys, so let's get into Strange New Worlds, episode 4. I gotta say, I loved this episode. Now, I do have nitpicks. There is stuff we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, this was my favorite episode so far. It reminded me of Balance of Terror. I actually went back after I watched this episode. I watched Balance of Terror and The Arena, which
Nice.
are like the two episodes that most directly relate to it.
Right.
But overall, like I was very happy with this episode. It didn't quite follow the Star Trek formula, but it was a damn good episode. It was tense. It was interesting. I love the way that they used the Gorn where we didn't get to see them at all.
I love that. Yeah, they didn't even have to show them. I love
Yeah,
that.
it's the old horror movie philosophy of what you don't see is scarier than what you do see.
Yes.
I thought Pike was an absolute boss in this episode. I loved everything that he was doing as captain. He's quickly becoming one of my favorite captains.
Yeah.
And I even liked Lon a lot in this episode because this was a Lon-centric episode.
Yes, it was.
So I want to go around the panel and get initial thoughts. Matt Vader 74, what did you think of Memento Mori?
I think we're 4 for 4 so far on these Star Trek episodes. For some reason, this episode didn't quite resonate with me as much as I thought it would. I mean, it was a fun episode though. I think I'm not a big fan of Lon. I don't think I like her as a character. I don't really. I'm not really able to explain why yet, but there's just something about her that kind of grates on me, and I don't know what it is. But yeah, it was an entertaining episode. You know, Pike's hair was amazing. It was
As
really
always,
well.
yeah.
It was really good. Very well acted.
He's such a damn specimen.
He really is. I don't know. I'm still. I've seen the episode twice, and I'm still trying to like process it because there was a lot of stuff that went on. You know, number one, I don't know what they're doing with her. I feel like they don't know what they're doing with her either. You know what I mean? It's she's always just kind of in the background, and I don't know. But I sound like I didn't enjoy the episode, but I absolutely did. I thought I do, like I said, I think they're 4 for 4. I'm enjoying this series. They're doing a good job. It's very Star Trek. I hope they can keep it up. So yeah, that's what I got.
Well, we are going to get into individual character moments,
Yeah.
but for right now, Michael, what did you think of the episode overall?
I absolutely love the episode. I will tell you. First of all, I'm loving the series so much. I actually got the model of the ship.
Oh, nice.
And I and I'll tell you, Balance of Terror is my absolute favorite episode of all of Trek. And one thing I love that they actually did better than Balance of Terror is, you know, Balance of Terror, they try to take the submarine metaphor and play it up, but they kind of make the mistake of like, okay, everybody be quiet, but they're in space, which makes no sense. Here, they take the dangers of being in the deep sea, but they make it make sense with the pressure of being deep in the atmosphere of this brown dwarf and the crushing atmospheric pressure and stuff. And so even though, yeah, I get it that, you know, you can argue about the physics of it, but at least it made some logical sense. And so I like the fact that they took some of the submarine metaphors and actually had it make a little more logical sense. I disagree with Vader about La'an. I think that her growth as a character in this episode was great. I like the fact that they're actually doing character growth, and it's the person on the panel that has clearly the hair most similar to Captain Pike. I'm loving him. I've always ranked the captains as Kirk number 1, Sisko number 2. And Pike and Sisko are now neck and neck at number 2. I gotta say, these two guys, you know, I can't decide which one of them is number 2 right now. They are that close. I love these guys.
Yeah.
4 episodes in, you ready to knock Sisko off his pedestal?
I am that close. I tell you, I really love Pike. Now, I'm you know, granted, the only reason I'm not willing to dethrone Sisko at this point is because we're only 4 episodes in, and because yes, this show could go totally off the rails because we're only 4 episodes in, and they could go completely bonkers in the next couple of episodes because who knows what they're going to do with the show, you know. A show in the, you know, look at the original series, 4 episodes in, they hadn't quite found the direction of the series as a whole. So, you know, for all we know, the show is going to turn into a zany comedy next episode, and that's what they're going to do for the rest of the series, you know. So we'll see. I'm absolutely loving the show so far.
Right on. Super chat
from Gavin Blackburn for £2. Ortega's snarkiness is becoming tiresome. We're actually going to talk about Ortega in a little bit. But, Michael, I got to 100% agree with you. I'm actually really liking the character of Lon. She is pushing a little bit of Michael Burnham energy, which I don't like. But overall, like, I feel like she's this show's version of Worf. And, you know, like, we just got to get some time to get to know her. But, like, so far from what I've seen from her, she's very competent. She's not, like, you know, trying to undermine Pike in any way, shape, or form. I like her character personally. But, Danny, let's hear what you thought about this episode.
So a lot of people are criticizing this thing that they're doing, but I actually love how each episode we get a different officer's log. Well, we still get Pike, like in the middle of the episode, we'll still get a captain's log, you know what I mean? But like So this one was Lon's episode where she's doing the opening log and the closing log. And I have to agree with the two of you. Sorry, Vader. I did not like her at first, in that, especially the first episode, but she's really growing on me now. I like I like they're kind of like pulling the taffy of who she is, throughout each of these episodes, and really doing some good character development with her. I did notice I think it was Vader who pointed this out. Number one was just kind of there in this episode, but she can't be front and center in every single episode.
I feel like she's just kind of there in every episode so far.
Well, she did have her episode. That was
the
good.
previous episode was very Una-centric.
Yeah, but in this one, like, she maybe had 5 minutes of screen time, but in that 5 minutes, she was like, give her my plasma type of thing or whatever it was. So it was still, it was like, even though her screen time was minimal, it's still good for the characters, true to the character. Pike, my God, I just can't. He is quickly. I mean, he's already inched, like, he's on Kirk's heels, man. Like, he really is. As far as, like, I'm really loving Anson Mount's take on Pike, like, a lot. There was just I also loved I love that Kadish brought this up, as I said this yesterday. It really did feel like a throwback to an old horror movie where they built a lot of tension with the score, and they don't really ever show the baddies, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it just they build up all this kind of like mystique and hype just from talking about them, with Lon, really getting into talking about like how they were. She was sent to one of their breeding planets to be food for hatchlings, and so it was dark stuff. It was really, right. And so just like letting your imagination go with it instead of showing us like Enterprise did, a crappy CGI fest or whatever. I think this is every episode is like my favorite episode. You know what I mean? Like what I mean by that is, like, week 2 came out, I liked it better than week 1. Yeah. Week 3 come out, I liked it better. Like this, I mean, I hope it keeps doing that, because I'm very much enjoying this show.
I mean, it's a lot like Jaws, right? When you don't see the shark, it's scarier than when the shark actually shows up. I feel like it's the same thing with the Gorn. Yeah. But we got a lot to talk about. I do want to cover a couple of the character moments in this episode, because we did get a lot of good character stuff, even though it was kind of like a Lon-centric episode. Mm-hmm. First of all, Anson Mount, I don't know if you guys ever watched Hell on Wheels, but his hair in that was also quite epic. He's got great hair. It is a little tall right now, but I'm sure that they'll fix that going forward. But I want to talk about Una for a bit, because Vader did say that she's just kind of there in the background, and that has been her for all of except like one episode. Mm-hmm. But I felt like she had a great character moment in this episode, and that's basically like she got injured when the Gorn attacked the transport bridge. And she was trying to downplay her injuries because, she's obviously a genetically augmented person. Mm-hmm. And she eventually stumbles into sick bay after it's been, damaged, and they don't have the ability to replicate what they need in order to treat all the injured people on the Enterprise. And so, like, she was trying to prevent herself from going there and using up resources that could be used for the crew. But eventually she goes in there, she collapses. They get her into a med bed, and they have to do surgery on her, basically. And she's going to bleed a lot. And they have some emergency plasma left that they're going to use for her. But then she looks over and she sees that there's another patient who is quickly dying, and they need the transfusion. And she's like, give that person my plasma. And they're like, well, you need it. And she's like, I'll be fine. Give it to her. And so, like, it was a wonderful moment of self-sacrifice that really kind of illustrated like her character and stuff like that. And this is the type of thing, like, I never got this from Discovery. Like when I was watching Discovery, I never got character moments like these that were actually like genuine and not contrived and stupid and like just full of sap. Like she's the first officer of the ship, and so the fact that she's willing to sacrifice herself for her own crew rings so true to me. and her willingness to possibly die for the sake of saving just one crew member really
Right.
meant a lot. So Vader, I wanted to hear your take on that character moment for Una, since you said that she's kind of being underserved.
Well, I'm not saying that she's just a background character. I just feel like we're 4 episodes in, and I just feel like she's just kind of. Well, I feel like she's kind of been a background character, I guess, for the most part. I guess I don't know. I'm not good. I'm not good with my words. You are smart. You are smart. You make things go. I'm a big pack lad in human form. Yeah, dude. I do. I feel like for being the second in command of the ship, I don't feel like we've gotten to know her at all for some reason, other than just I don't know. I just that's just how I feel. I feel like she just kind of points other characters on the show in a direction, and then she kind of stands in the background.
I don't know. I felt like we got to know her a lot in the previous episode.
Yeah.
But, Michael, what did you think of this character moment in the episode?
No, I thought it was a good moment for Una, and I mean, she's been completely sidelined in 2 episodes, in episode 1 and in this one.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
And so, because in episode 1, of course, she was held prisoner for the bulk of the episode. In this one, she was in sickbay for almost the entire episode. I don't know if it's because Rebecca Romaine Stamos is such an expensive actress, or if it's just because they want to give room for La'an to grow. Because remember, when Una is unavailable, La'an has to be first officer,
Right?
And plus the 2 of them are the augmented characters, and are they building up to something with the 2 of them?
I'm going to use a wrestling analogy when it's my turn. I know you guys love that when I do.
But there's also the fact that we know that by the time the Kirk era starts, Una's nowhere to be seen. And so what's going to, is she a character that ultimately has a death sentence on her? So which we don't know.
Can be said of Lon, though.
Yeah. And so, are both of these characters ultimately doomed? We don't know the answer to any of that, but and that's one thing that's kind of interesting. So I don't know what the ultimate answer to any of that is, but honestly, I think that having the problem, and this is something that started with TNG, honestly, is these ensemble casts are a little too big. If you look at TOS, you had Kirk, Spock, McCoy were the core cast. They were pretty much, the main characters in every episode. But then, with Scotty, Uhura, Sulu, they were, secondary cast members that were in most episodes. And then you had characters.
Don't say that to George Takei.
Yeah, well, but then you had the tertiary characters that then were occasionally there, right? And so on out. But now they want to give everybody equal time in these shows, and it makes it very difficult, which means that you've got to pick and choose characters to occasionally just come up with some contrived reason to sideline them. But you can't, but you can't do that with like the captain.
Yeah, I want to move on to what Danny thought about this character moment with Una.
Sorry, I know.
I'm really interested to hear the wrestling analogies.
So here's the thing. I actually, and this is why I brought it up. This was one of my favorite moments in the episode, and it just goes to show, and I think Kadish would agree with this. This is the difference when you have like some decent writing. She's barely in the episode, yet we're talking about this moment. You know what I mean? Like it was a good usage of her. And for my wrestling analogy, so let's say you have like a CM Punk come in. He's like a big guy, but he's older, right? So he's coming in to help younger talent out. So his job isn't necessarily to beat everybody. It's to kind of put them over, give them the rub. You know what I mean? That's why, unfortunately, I think he is going to lose tomorrow, because I think he's there to help build a new star with Hangman Adam Page. I think that's kind of what they're doing with Una. Now, I don't feel like they're taking her for granted yet. I mean, they could get into that territory, but I do like how they're using her to elevate La'an. And I do think both of them are going to die by the time this series is over. I think they're going to have some type of Thelma and Louise self-sacrifice, save the ship kind of moment. That's just my personal take on it. I have no, info on that, but just because there's no mention of them basically ever again in Star Trek, aside from the menagerie, and that's just for number one. I mean, we've never heard of La'an, so I think it makes sense that at the very least she's going to die, and they've already set up the fact that that Una is very. I mean, they right out of the gate, episode 1. Admiral April says that she doesn't do downtime very well, so she goes on that mission and she gets kind of she gets caught, she gets injured, and she's a prisoner, and then they have to save her, and then she has a really good episode last week where we learn about her, which I loved, and then this week it's kind of like, even though she got quote unquote sidelined again or whatever, she used every second of her screen time was building that character even more, showing her mind frame, her like putting the ship first, putting the crew first, putting the mission first. Like, she's a Starfleet officer through and through, and I love what they're doing with her, and I love that moment. I'm glad that's the first one you brought up. So.
And I also like the fact that she was leading the away team, and Pike was up on the ship doing his captain gig.
Yeah,
that was a nice little touch. So I just got a text message from Brian from the Popcast. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to make it this Saturday.
Oh, too bad.
Oh, bummer.
All his text message said was that old people suck. So take for that.
Oh yeah. Well, I know
what
he's
you will.
picking somebody up from the airport. Yeah. I think he said so. Yeah.
Yeah. So to all of you out there who was wondering what CBS gave us to show for this series today, the check hasn't cleared yet, so we are going to get into some critiques of the episode very soon. We wanted to get all the good stuff out of the way, and since we're no longer waiting for Brian, we'll get to that a little bit quicker. So one of the things that chat did bring up is, like, guys, where the hell is Sam Kirk? Is he dead? Did he die in episode 2 and we just didn't know it?
Yeah, he's on his way to Denver.
He was down doing stuff in the science department.
I missed the porn stash. Like where's the guy with the porn stash?
How much has he actually been in the show? He went on that one away mission, right?
Yeah, he's been in 2 episodes. I believe.
Well, he was on
the end of episode 1,
right.
and then the first half of episode 2.
Yeah,
and then we haven't seen him ever since.
Yeah. Right. So he's going away to go with his family to ultimately die. As we all know, he does.
Yeah, it would have been more interesting if they'd actually made him a bit more of the crew, a bit more of a character.
I think we'll see him pop up from time to time.
I think we're getting just the right amount of him.
Yeah,
but not a lot.
Yeah, I think he's going to be classified as a reoccurring character.
Yeah.
He reminds me of a guy from Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
With a mustache. Yeah. So, speaking of other side characters, I wanted to touch on Hemmer and Uhura in this episode. So basically, as a cadet, Uhura is doing the rounds on the different departments, and in this episode, she's teamed up with Hemmer, and Hemmer is basically giving her a really hard time. And she keeps kind of like turning it back around on him and impressing him. And eventually she has to basically, the two of them have to work together in order to keep the Enterprise from blowing up. And it was kind of an interesting episode. Again, we get a little bit more kind of like her development. Episode 2 was basically her episode. But we also got to learn a little bit more about Hemmer in this episode. So Matt Vader, what did you think of this subplot?
I don't know. It was just your normal secondary storyline in the Star Trek episode where we get some character development from a couple people. I don't know. I mean, I didn't realize Uhura was supposed to be like the Wesley Crusher of this show. She's
don't say that. Don't say that.
I mean, that's kind of she's like I can do everything really, really extra special good. I'm so smart that I'm on a special assignment from Starfleet Academy because I need to learn how to be a really good whatever. It's just I mean, that's kind of the impression. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting that she's like some kind of super smart person who's trying to find her way in the galaxy, and we all know she ends up in the communicator chair with her thing in her ear for the next 30
I will say
years.
that they at least set that up, that she beat
Yeah.
out thousands of applicants
Yeah.
to be on that ship. So like it's not coming out of the blue.
Yeah.
No.
You know, she
She's not
earned
being a
her
Mary
space
Sue
there.
or anything like that. You know?
Yeah, Danny, what did you think of? Oh, Vader, were you not done?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to go to Danny to get his take on the Hemmer Uhura subplot this episode.
So I actually am, you know, when they first released the images of the crew on those tweets or whatever, or the little clips, I didn't know how I felt about Uhura. You know, I didn't think I was going to like her, but I actually really I like how they're presenting her. I really do, and again, I like these moments that they're doing where I think they're doing a really good job of this juggling act with the large ensemble. I really do, because we learn more about the characters, which just goes back to, in my opinion, good writing, good character development, even though they have limited screen time. You know, like, so we learn. And first of all, like, she's not perfect. I mean, there was that one thing where, like, right off the bat, she screws up, and Hemmer, like, you know, you got to use the other hand at the same time, and blah 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 blah. And so, and then she kind of gets it, and then I love the chemistry between the two of them. I like that they paired them up. I don't know how often they're going to do that, but I'm really, you know, I'm really enjoying both of these characters a lot. You know, so just don't F it up, CBS. That's all I gotta say.
All right, Michael, what did you think of this subplot?
I actually liked it too, and I want to see more Hemmer and Uhura together as well. I think that the two of them work together well, in that Hemmer is the curmudgeon and Uhura is like the one character that Hemmer kind of has a liking for, and I think they established that when they first meet in the captain's barbecue pit, and
he literally says, "I like her." I mean,
yeah, and in this one, I like the fact that Hemmer just does not want to work with other people, and yet here he's forced to depend on Uhura for help. And to kind of, you know, counter a little bit of what Vader was saying, keep in mind that in the original series, they really played off that Uhura was a technical genius, not a linguist. And here we see the beginnings of that. Here Uhura, we kind of see Uhura kind of saying, you know, working with, you know, technical parts is a lot like, you know, language. And so we can kind of see where Uhura is connecting the dots between the two. And so why, by the time TOS rolls around, she's really good with repairing equipment and stuff, not just being able to communicate with different languages.
You know, that's a good point. They really did plant the seeds with that, with her working with Hemmer. I didn't even, that's see, that's what I'm talking about, man. They are actually putting thought into the character development here. I love it.
So let's talk a little bit about the last character that I want to get into, who is Ortega. But before we get into that, I thought it was interesting that they gave Chief Kyle a little bit of a moment here. It was either like a friend of his, or like he's gay, and it's like some dude.
Wow.
Well, you guys know,
he was giving him the fuck me eyes a little bit earlier in the episode.
You know, he's from the original pilot. I pointed this out last night. I'll have to find the clip, but he's the other.
There is an Asian transporter chief in
his name he's not a chief.
Cage.
He wasn't a chief. The other guy was the chief. The white dude was the chief.
Yeah.
And the Asian guy was
but there is an Asian guy in the transporter room. Yeah.
Yeah. They're saying that that's the same character. Like, this article.
So we got like 2 seconds of him trying to save this other dude, and the guy like sacrifices himself, and he becomes one of the 7 crew members that died in the episode, much to Kyle's chagrin. It was very traumatic for him. But I want to get to Ortega's, because so like from what I've been reading or what I've been seeing online, like she's probably the least popular character from the new show so far, and I think a lot of that just has to do with a weird haircut. But I actually liked her a lot in this episode, because like every time Pike gave a crazy order, she was like, "What the fuck are you making us do?"
Yeah.
You know, and like it kind of culminated to like you know, like when they say like, "Oh, let's go to the black hole." She's like, "Wait a minute, how big of a black hole?" And Pike's like, "We got no time for that." And then and then she's like, "If this works, we're going to call it the Pike maneuver, because you know, it's either going to be epic or it's going to fail really badly." But like every time Pike tells her to do something this episode, she's just like, "Okay, I'll give it a try."
Well, except for the last part, which I loved, where they finally dropped the torpedo, and she's like, "Now we're talking."
Yeah. So like I thought that she actually did a really good job this episode. I'm starting to warm up to her character. I like that she kind of hazed Uhura in episode 2, but like we haven't really gotten a lot from her other than you know, Pike saying that she's like the best pilot in the fleet and stuff like that.
No, that she wants to be the best pilot.
I know that she wants to be.
So I know the next episode is Spock centric. I don't know if we're going to get an Ortega centric episode.
Maybe. I kind of hope not, because I don't think she's interesting enough to warrant her own episode quite yet. But like I did like the sass. I did like the fact that she's the one who's kind of like, you know, kind of calling into question Pike's orders a little bit without actually being insubordinate.
Did they know each other? Because like they were kind of in this episode act like he was calling her Erica. I think this is the first time we heard her first name. Like, did you notice that? Like he was being pretty informal with her.
I feel like they've served together for a while now.
Okay.
You know, so I mean,
she might be the officer he's most familiar with.
Okay. I don't know. I really like
she and Spock, I think, are probably, you know.
I think they have good chemistry, even though I
like like I get the feeling she, Spock, and Una are the ones that have served with Pike forever.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. So so what did you guys think of Ortega's kind of character bits in this episode, Vader?
I'm starting to actually kind of like Ortega. You know, I do agree that her haircut's kind of dumb, but maybe they just do that to like make her stand out a little bit. But it doesn't bother me. It's a science fiction show, whatever. Stupid haircuts are all over the place. But I like her character so far. And you know, we were all like, when the show first started, we were all like, oh, look, she's gonna be an insert for this, or she's gonna be doing that. But you know what? She's been a fun character, and she's kind of like encapsulating the role of like Chekhov and Sulu kind of in one person, at least to me in my brain, is what her role is. And I have no problems with her. In fact, I'm kind of enjoying her character a little bit. I like her witty quips. I like her little a little bit of snark. You know, you need a character like that.
Everybody needs a smart ass in their life. Come on.
Yeah, for sure. And none of the other characters really hit that role.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I have no issues with her at all. Not so far so good with her. So yeah.
What about you, Michael? Do you have any issues with Ortega?
Into the gaseous cloud of death.
Yeah.
I mean, when she said that, I fell in love with her. I think she's a fun little character. I think that I agree. Like when she hazed Uhura, you know, the fact that, you know, she is the kind of person that everybody knows an Ortegas. You know, I think it's Ortegas, isn't it?
With the S, Ortegas.
Yeah. And you know, I know that when they first showed her, everybody, oh, she's the LBT.
Yeah.
You know, first of all,
she could bang a goat at this point. I wouldn't care. Anyway.
You know, everybody's just assuming that because she's sassy, she's tough, and she's got a weird haircut.
Yep.
You know, who cares if she is or isn't? I care about, is the story any good, and is she a fun character? And the answer is yes and yes. So I don't care. But you know, so far the show, the only romance we've seen on the show has been Spock and T'Pring. And that's something, quite frankly, that I find refreshing, because Star Trek is not a freaking soap opera.
Right. But have you seen the trailer for next week's episode?
I know Spock and T'Pring are in it.
That's about to know. Yeah, it's gonna come to a head. Yeah.
But it looks like a dream sequence based on the
the ears and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, you know, that's, you know, it shouldn't be, Star Trek is not meant to be everybody's banging each other. Star Trek should be more about, the human adventure, going out and exploring and strange new worlds, which is the name of this show. Surprise, surprise.
Well, hey,
And,
you always need like that Kirk or Riker character. You got to have at least one that's banging all the aliens. Come on. I mean,
yeah, well,
how else are you going to better explore strange new worlds and new civilizations if you don't get to have carnal knowledge of them? Come on. No? Okay.
No. Send Hemmer out to do that. Yeah, he goes, oh yeah, we're gonna send our banging emissary, and Hemmer beams down. They're like, whoa, hey, no thanks.
Yeah.
Well, he's
all right. So Danny, what did you think of Ortega in this episode?
I actually, she had me at dress uniforms from episode 2, to be honest with you. I really, I'm a bit of a smart ass myself. I kind of relate to this character a lot. And sorry, Mom. My mom's doing the little palm face, but it's true. That's why she called me Mouth when I was a kid, because I had a mouth on me.
You got called that too? I got called that.
Oh, you did? Yeah. My mom used to call me Mouth all the time. I was like,
oh, just like the Goonies.
I guess probably where she got it from. So I liked every little that's why I feel like if they're not friends, like you said, Michael, I think they've been working together for a long time, because this episode, more than any other, I just had this feeling that her and Pike have known each other a long time, because they were really informal with one another. Like he was calling her Erica. She was being sassy and saying stuff like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, that was a problem Gary had with it when I talked to him the other day, was that he thought she was being disrespectful. I was like, no, I think that they were super chat.
Dennis Wright for $4.99. Speaking of banging, F. Mary Kill, Anson Mount, Spock, and Rebecca Romaine. Danny, since you had the floor, do you want to?
Yeah. Okay. I bang Rebecca Romaine, because who wouldn't? I kill Spock because he's an emotionalist prick, and I marry Anson Mount because, my God, what a trophy husband. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
Yeah. I stand by that.
Yeah. All right. So, Danny, did you want to wrap up your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Oh, nobody else wanted to do the bang, marry, kill?
No, go ahead. You're good. We're good.
Yeah. I think I'll stay out of that one.
No, I thought it was more back to what I was saying before the super chat. Like, Gary didn't like it because he thought it came off as disrespectful, because he's been in the military, and he's like, you don't talk to your commanding officer that way. And I was like, my thing was like, well, he was calling her Erica. I think they were setting up the fact that these two have, if they're not friends, they've at least known each other like a good long while, and they feel comfortable enough in tense situations to talk that way to each other, and it still not be disrespectful. You know what I mean? So I liked it a lot. I think they're just doing a better job with her. Although I will disagree with you, Kadish. I would love to see an episode centric, like a Ortega centric episode. Just don't give her a tragic backstory. Dear God, please let her be the only one that doesn't have one. That's all I ask.
Oh, the haircut is tragic in and of itself. But we're gonna move on because I want to get into some of the criticisms I have for this episode.
Real quick before we move on, I just want to point out one thing real quick. And there is one other character that you forgot about, and that's a character we haven't talked about in a very, very long time, and a character I'm so relieved to see return to Star Trek, and that is the character of the USS Enterprise, because for the first time in so long, the starship felt like a character.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
These special effects are like movie quality.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is like, if you take a look at, if you don't mind, I just shared a screenshot of, and there it disappeared on me. Let me bring it back up there. That shot, I just love that civilian ship, the bridge, the side. Look at that. I mean, that's just beautiful. The Enterprise is gorgeous. And the Enterprise, when Pike was like, I believe in this ship and all that, he wasn't talking about just the fact that the crew, he was talking about the ship.
Yeah, no, I totally Totally.
we actually got the ship as a character again. You know,
Yeah.
100%
I,
agree with
I,
you.
I, I think that was a big part of this episode too. Was like we actually got to see the Enterprise doing stuff,
Yeah.
yeah.
which was nice. So let's talk a little bit about the Gorn. So obviously, the Star Trek writers can't go to their default bad guy, the Borg, anymore because the Borg aren't in this timeline yet. So they're looking for a new villain to kind of flesh things out. And they've been setting up the Gorn since episode 1. This is the first time we got to see them. And I actually went back and rewatched The Arena, which is the season 1 episode where the Gorn are introduced in the original series.
13 or 14, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And it was very interesting because if you watch that episode, the Gorn set a trap for the Enterprise at the beginning of that episode as well.
Mhm.
And so it was very interesting that the Gorn are so like tactically like superior to a lot of Starfleet, and they were a fantastic threat in this episode. Where I just thought the fact that we didn't get to see them, the fact that we're perceiving all their tactics through the prism of Lon and people who aren't very knowledgeable about the Gorn and stuff like that.
I love that line of hers. What was it? It's not
Yeah.
that we've never met the Gorn. It's like no one's ever survived. Or
Survived
something.
meeting them. Yeah. So like there was a lot of really fantastic kind of like setup for the Gorn in this episode. And so I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on how the Gorn were used in this and how you think they're going to be used in the future of Strange New Worlds. So Vader, what did you think of the Gorn?
I think they're setting the Gorn up to be a really fun antagonist. How much do we really know about the Gorn in Star Trek? It's very little, right? I mean, I'm trying to think of how many times you actually ever seen a Gorn in Star Trek, and I think once or twice.
Just once. Yeah.
Twice. No, once in the original series and then once in Enterprise. Because in Enterprise, I hated it. It was a total CGI lizard man. It was terrible looking.
Okay, I guess I kind of forgot that episode, but
Yeah,
we know very little about these. So it's a fun and good.
I love how they're doing that.
Race to explore a little bit,
Yeah, like
and they're setting them up really scary, like with their blood birthing bags and all whatever stuff. It's like they need humans to harvest their eggs and stuff. It's really kind of gross. So it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward with this. So yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, Danny, what did you think of the Gorn?
I like like Una's character race. What were they called again?
Illyrians.
That they came up just once in a previous TOS episode. Didn't know anything about them. It's a great space to like take an existing, species, whether it's good guy or bad guy, and do a deep dive because that's what you should do. Stop rehashing stories that we already know and screwing up canon. Dive into these other areas where all we know is their name type of thing. And because we've only seen, and I got corrected on this last night. So the episode that the Gorn are in Enterprise is a mirror universe episode. So technically it's not like the same Gorn or whatever. So, I mean, whatever, but we know little enough about them other than they were really good at 3D chess, apparently, because they're tacticians is what they've set up now with this episode.
Right.
And I love that we never saw them. Oh my God. I said that probably 100 times in yesterday's. I love how we never saw them and how the build, like people are like everybody's like legitimately afraid of this. Yeah. Look at that. That's from Enterprise. Yeah. It's bad. Just bad. It's so bad. Anyway, but yeah, no, I short answer. I was very happy. I hope they don't. I don't want the Gorn to become the new Klingon, but of this series. But we only get 10 episodes, which is criminal. Right? Is that all we get? 10?
Yeah.
So Michael, what did you think of the use of the Gorn?
In this episode, I thought that it was masterful. I think that I would love to see the Gorn be the big bad of the entire series and only get glimpses. Like if they can actually pull it up, like you see a tail, you see a claw, you see maybe an eye, but you never actually see the whole thing. In the entire series, we never really see a whole Gorn. And like we get them in the briefing room trying to hypothesize what a Gorn actually looks like in like artist renderings, but we never actually get a confirmed full sighting of a Gorn. Maybe after a ship blows up, we recover one of their legs or something.
Well, there was a Gorn skeleton in Discovery in Jason
Yeah,
Isaac's.
but that's they don't know about that because Discovery went to the 32nd century. So
Well, that was from season 1, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was in season 1.
Yeah, so they would know about that because this crew was in season 2. So
yeah, and who knows what happened to that Gorn skeleton when Lorca left? Did he take it with him back to the mirror universe, or where is it? Is it in the 32nd century now? We know that Lorca talked about how the Gorn were awesome, but that's Lorca is one of the very few people that actually mentioned the Gorn by name in Discovery. But how is he talking about the mirror universe Gorn, and are they the same? Are they the same as the Gorn in the Prime universe? We don't know.
Well, they seem more like in Enterprise, didn't they? Just seem like more like brutish.
Yeah. Now, I do think that, the Enterprise is the Enterprise Gorn are the mirror universe Gorn.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I think we're like the Prime universe, they're more tacticians. I think in the mirror universe, they were set up more savage beast type of thing.
Right. I did joke that in this last episode, I would have thought best practical joke ever if when they were walking around the colony, they came around a corner and we actually saw the guy in the rubber suit going, yes, but I actually really thought it was masterful the way they did it.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that so in the Arena, which is the episode of the original series where the Gorn were introduced, the Enterprise isn't able to kind of get a read on who the ship it belongs to or what the species is, and it's not until that other alien race comes in and says like they're a species called the Gorn that they know who they're dealing with. So like believably, like this stuff kind of goes with canon because like they weren't very clear on it. Although I would think that as soon as the Gorn were mentioned, the crew would have like some type of like reference of that, and
that would feed into them never seeing them.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Major Gren, who did an excellent video about this, and it's about 2 minutes long. I want to show you guys this video and then get your reaction on it real quick. Okay, so let me just call this up here, and let me know if you can hear it. All right,
Captain, we're coming under attack. Unidentified ship quartering in.
We are in hot pursuit of the alien vessel which destroyed the Earth outpost on Cestus 3.
We have prepared a planet with a suitable atmosphere. You will be taken there, as will the captain of the Gorn ship which you have been pursuing.
And I have been somehow whisked off the bridge and placed on the surface of an asteroid, facing the captain of the alien ship. I face the creature the Metrones called a Gorn.
It's the Gorn.
It's the Gorn.
I'm engaged in personal combat with a creature apparently called a Gorn. He's immensely strong.
Throw luggage at them.
And the Gorn, really?
Plenty of people have seen the Gorn.
Makes noises like this.
More like clicks. Clicking sounds.
The Federation teaches that if we can find a way to empathize with an enemy, then they can one day become our friends. They're wrong. Some things in this universe are just plain evil.
No. No, I won't kill you. Maybe you thought you were protecting yourself when you attacked the outpost. We can talk. Maybe reach an agreement.
Oh, not again.
Hold on just a minute. We're both. Got to think.
I haven't seen that extended version of that William Shatner one.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Good stuff.
basically, Major Grin, like he's really good at kind of like showcasing all like the inaccuracies with the Star Trek writing, and in that one, it was interesting to kind of like compare the arena to what we got in this episode, where the Gorn are obviously known to Starfleet by this point, and yet in Kirk's episode, he's meeting the Gorn for the first time, wasn't familiar with the species and stuff like that. So I wanted to know what you guys thought of the use of the Gorn in this context. Like, is it lore accurate, or are they breaking canon here?
Who's first?
Vader, what do you think?
Oh, I don't know if it's lore accurate. Like I said, I thought the only time we've ever seen Gorn was once before back in Space Seed, and I'd forgotten the other one. I don't see anything, or not
Arena.
Space Seed, but the arena. Yeah, see, I'm all over the place. Nothing broke my brain with any of this. You know, I'm sure there's some hardcore, like crazy elite Uber Trekkies out there that are
Professor Brainy Specs
that are losing their mind over some of this stuff. But I don't see anything crazy egregious going on. I like the fact that they're developing the Gorn a little bit as a big bad that we're going to visit every once in a while, probably in this show. Got no issues with it at all, and that was hilarious. That little clip that you just showed, that was awesome. So yeah. No issues with me at all.
I got to start. I got to start following that guy. You can
Yeah, Michael, what do you think? Is the show kind of taking some liberties here?
Yes, it is, and I will say this: just like, and even Major Grin even pointed it out, they took the same liberties in. I don't know if that one clip was from TNG or DS9, where the one lady said it was, where the one lady was saying it was clicking noises, when clearly the Gorn in TOS was more hissing noises. Growling and hissing. But both the little girl in Strange New Worlds and the lady in TNG were both saying clicking noises. So, this is, continuity gaffes are not unique to Strange New Worlds. And so anybody that wants to scream continuity or, canon violations, if you prefer, but that's not really what it is.
Can you say that again? That should be a t-shirt. What was that?
It's continuity, not canon. Canon is simply a description of what is authorized works within a series. Continuity means one thing doesn't gel with another. And so, but is it a continuity error? Absolutely. However, Star Trek is full of continuity errors. And yes, this is one, but I'm sorry, get over it. It's a good show.
Elaborate, please. Tell me why you say it's a continuity error, because when it's my turn, I'm going to tell you,
clearly,
because
I agree that when Kirk says, I'm engaged with personal combat with a creature apparently called a Gorn, right? When he says that, apparently called a Gorn, you'd think he would have heard of the Gorn, especially since 10 years ago, Pike's sitting there reading a brief on first contact with the Gorn, and then a few weeks later, the Enterprise is getting pummeled by Gorn, and I'm assuming this is not the only time we're going to see the Gorn by the end of the run. And so if the Gorn are a major threat to the Federation 10 years ago, why would Kirk be going, apparently there's these people called the Gorn, and they don't know that the Gorn are a threat out where Cestus 3 is? So I get it. It is a continuity gaffe. However, it's also a freaking awesome episode.
It is.
You
So,
so I say stop getting your panties in a bunch and enjoy the episode.
may I retort?
Yes, go ahead, Danny.
Okay. I actually, I love you, man. I got mad respect for you. And I got to ask you about the Jeopardy thing later, like why that's over. But I respectfully disagree with you. I actually think this in a way helps strengthen canon if they keep treating the Gorn the way they did in this episode. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier to something Kadish said. If we, or you said, I think, if we never actually see them, like you said, we only see what'd you say, like an eye or a claw or just like little tiny, but I'd actually be fine with not seeing like them treating it this way, because maybe it's the first time they see the Gorn, when Kirk is like, it's the first time they see them. So they don't know, like they've only interacted with their ships and their tactics, and ships change over years. So maybe like in 10 years, maybe that Gorn over there with Cestus 3 was just like flying a different class of ship or something. And so they didn't know. And then they're like, oh, the Gorn. And because I don't know, I feel like it wouldn't take a lot for this to actually strengthen canon if they do it right. What do you guys think of that idea? Am I batshit crazy, or does it make sense? It's like,
no, that makes sense. And I actually want to get to a couple other things before we move on to Obi-Wan here. And they all have to do with the Gorn stuff. So in this episode, we learned that Lon had a brother. And he was captive with her while she was on the Gorn like food planet or whatever you want to call it. And I was thinking about this because she sees him throughout the episode, and he's the one who gives her the book that he was able to translate some of the Gorn language, and it's basically like Morse code using clicking and hissing sounds. And I was thinking about this. I was like, Lon is a descendant of Khan, right? Khan Noonien Singh, which means that her brother was also a descendant, and they're both augmented, right?
Yeah, he was Ra'an.
Ra'an, yeah. So basically, you have a direct descendant of Khan Noonien Singh, who is in the captivity of these devious, technologically advanced, and ruthless aliens in the form of the Gorn. And it's implied that he died, but she's blocked out a lot of stuff, so he might not have died. So what do you think of this theory that Lon's brother basically becomes a tyrant because he was adopted by the Gorn, raised to learn their tactics, and he becomes one of the big bads of Strange New Worlds? What do you think of that theory?
Stop writing a better show. Wow.
I think that's what they're setting up. Honestly.
That's a great idea. Wow.
This is the first
I am the Lizard King.
No, if that actually happens, I hope you get some type of writing credit or story.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, so her brother, if the Gorn are able to bring forth his genetic augments and he becomes like the Khan reincarnated, right? The Khan that conquered a third of the planet Earth, and he's leading this army of Gorn who are like very tactically minded. He could be like Pike's nemesis. And Lon, is torn between her loyalty to her brother, who she loves, and her loyalty to her captain and her crew.
And that could be how she goes out. The self-sacrifice, like she takes her brother out with her. Oh my God, dude, I love this idea.
I think it's a really cool idea, but I don't think they're going to go there. I think you're just rewriting.
See, this is the difference between a college graduate and a college dropout. Yeah. That right there, those ideas. That's beautiful, man.
It's actually an interesting idea. And another way they could bring Lon out of at least Starfleet would be to have her join her brother, which could be even more devious because she has Starfleet knowledge and going up,
No, that could be tragic because that could also be how you get rid of Una, because she turns, and the way she turns to the dark side to join her brothers by killing Una. And then that would explain both of their disappearances.
There's a lot of potential there if they decide to go in that direction.
Right.
But as I was watching this episode, that's just what stood out to me, because in this episode, you think, oh, he just died trying to save her. But I think that they don't show it. Something there. Yeah, I think they're setting up something there. So in addition to that, I want to talk about the one scene.
I just thought of something, man, and I don't mean to cut you off, but remember, during the mind meld, Spock said, "You're hiding something."
Yeah, yeah. She didn't fully unlock everything that she
Yeah.
blocked out. But speaking of her time with Spock, so there's a scene in this episode that really just kind of like almost ruined the episode for me, and I was really into it up to that point. And that is that when when Lon figures out how to communicate with the Gorn based off of that hidden memory that Spock helped her unlock, they go up to the two remaining Gorn ships and somehow get the Gorn mothership to destroy the hunter killer by saying, "Oh, there are humans on that ship that took it over," and the Gorn are like, "Fuck that ship," and they instantly blow it up. But like it was coming from a Starfleet shuttle, which was literally like right next to them. And so I'm wondering, like how did I miss something in that scene? Like, how were they able to convince the Gorn that they, that the ship needed to be destroyed? Danny?
Lon set that up with a line of dialogue right before they did that. And I'll I have to go back and find it, but because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, they use the phasers to duplicate their lights.
Yeah, it was like shoot. Now I want to pull it up. Anyway, you guys talk while I look it up.
Well. So first of all, I didn't buy that because it's like, first of all, who communicates via light in space? Because light takes time to get to stuff. So like if you're far away, like your communications aren't going to be all that good. But second of all, like the Gorn have advanced technology that they'd be able to see the ship right there, right? They'd be able to know if the ship was like doing something weird, or at least you'd think that they'd contact the hunter killer and try to verify these claims, because like if the hunter killer is like, "Oh, we've got humans on board that took over the ship," they'd just be like, "Wait, what?" So I just want to hear your guys' justification for this scene, because it was the one scene that I felt almost ruined the episode.
Well, they did establish that sensors, number one, do not work in this cloud, so they can't scan for the shuttle, and that the shuttle was too small to be visually located. So unless the Gorn had figured out a method of tracking through the displacement of the gases like the Enterprise did, there was no way for them to see the shuttle. So they did actually establish that in the episode. And that the Gorn, apparently through their short-range communications, at least, the light beams is how they communicate. As far as long-range communications, maybe the Gorn use some kind of subspace communications like the Federation, but at least short-range, they use these light beams. At least that's what they observed. Or maybe this is one of the Gorn's few weaknesses, is that their communication systems is not that advanced.
So I hear a lot of headcanon, and I'm just going to chalk this up to...
Well, some speculation, but I'm
going to chalk this up to Deus Ex Machina bad writing, because they couldn't figure out a legitimate way.
How is that bad writing? It's like every species has different technology.
Hey man, let him have his opinion. We can't be total shills. Come on.
Hey, you guys can have that opinion, but like from what I saw in the episode, it was a Deus Ex Machina. They couldn't figure out a legitimate way to realistically get rid of that hunter killer ship, and so they just kind of like glossed over it. They did a lot of glossing over in this episode with some like big plot points, but that was the one scene that was just so egregious I couldn't ignore it. Other than that, I thought the show was great. The episode was great, but that one scene just like really bothered me. Speaking of bothering me, there's one more thing I want to touch on in this episode before we move on to Obi-Wan, and that is the black hole that was used as the big kind of get out of jail free card in this episode. So in this episode, they're going to a place called Phoenibus 3 in order to deliver a atmospheric processor that the settlers of that planet need in order to breathe air. And they get there, and when they get attacked, they decide to go hide in the atmosphere of a brown dwarf gas giant. But the only problem is that the brown dwarf gas giant is orbiting a black hole. Now, in the show, they established that this gas giant is about 200 million kilometers away from Phoenibus 3, which basically, to give you guys some context to this, the Earth is about 150 million kilometers away from the sun. So it was basically about the distance from the Earth to the sun that they had to go in order to get to this gas giant. Now, they're orbiting a black hole, and the minimum safe distance to be to a black hole before like stuff starts getting like, you know, torn apart and time starts getting wonky and stuff like that is 50 billion kilometers. Okay, so 200 million kilometers away from a gas giant that's stuck in the orbit of a black hole, 50 billion kilometers minimum safe distance from a black hole, according to science.
That doesn't even make. So we're 150, 200 million from the sun, but we have to be 50 billion away from a black hole. Is that what you just said? To sum that up.
So minimum safe distance to not be affected by a black hole, which means that the planet's not being torn apart by its gravity. You're not getting any time distortion, stuff like that. According to science, is 50 billion kilometers.
Is this from Dr. Target? Is this like verified? Is this vetted?
This is physics, right?
Okay, sorry.
Now it depends on the size.
I'm a simpleton. I'm not.
It depends on the size of the black hole and all this other stuff.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
I mean,
there's a lot of variables there.
Maybe it's a really small black hole.
There can be, but the fact of the matter is, if you're 200 million kilometers away from a planet that's orbiting a black hole, you are definitely not within a safe distance of that. So the idea that they're like, oh, there's this gas giant over there, oh, and by the way, there's a black hole. It was ridiculously stupid to me that they used this as a plot device for the episode. So I wanted to get your guys' take on why Star Trek writers can't just like Google some basic physics before they write an episode.
Yeah, you would think they would be able to let's like get on the horn with Dr. Kiku or Neil deGrasse Tyson or any of these plethora of astrophysicists that are on all of these TV shows.
Or who's even the guy you guys had on the other day?
Dr. Target. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I am 100% with you, Matthew. That black hole had no business being within light years of that planet that they were playing around with, because the whole system would be getting sucked into that thing. It made no sense. Yeah.
By the way, 1 light year is 9.5 trillion kilometers.
Yeah. So it's just it didn't make any sense to me about the whole black hole thing. I feel like it was very strange. It didn't make any sense. They could have come up with something a little different. You know,
now,
maybe the star was collapsing or something, but whatever.
Right. In fairness, we don't know what the distance between the brown dwarf and the black hole was.
And do we know, like, scientifically what the interactions between, like, has that, like, because I don't know anything about this, and when I get to mine, it's just...
So in the episode, they did a very good job of kind of glossing over, 1, how big the black hole was, and 2, how far the brown dwarf was from the singularity. But
you got me Googling stuff.
When I tell you that, you know, basically you have to be a minimum safe distance of 50 billion kilometers from a black hole before like you start feeling the effects of it, that should tell you something. Where basically Finibus 3 should have been like if they had made Finibus 3 like a science station that was meant to study the effects of a black hole on, you know, a brown giant, instead of having a planet there with like an actual settlement on it, that would have been one thing. But the fact that like Finibus 3 is not affected by it at all, and also the fact that the Enterprise goes into the edge of the event horizon of a black hole and doesn't experience any time distortion. Like by the time they escape the black hole, it should have been like 100 years in the future for them, right?
Well,
because time slows down the closer you get to a black hole.
I'm not going to argue time physics with you guys right now. That's just ridiculous.
I mean, that's just physics.
Well, we don't know how big the event horizon is.
You're
okay, Dr. Kadish, whatever, buddy.
No, you're too smart for me, bro. Because I'm on the Wikipedia looking at what a brown dwarf is, and just reading the first paragraph is hurting my brain.
Yeah,
like, well, there's so many variables. Like it talks about like they're the most massive gas giant planets, but they have like the least amount of hydrogen or something. Or I don't know, man. Like I don't.
Well,
you know
you all
I'm an idiot.
But see, I think
I'll just buy whatever they're selling me. You know,
you all saw Interstellar, right? Remember when
I saw Interstellar.
Oh, like Interstellar is 100% scientifically accurate.
Well, but what I'm saying is in that movie they make it clear that like the closer you are to a black hole, the different time works.
Yes.
So when the Enterprise,
when you go into one, all of a sudden you're in the middle of a library and you can.
Well, isn't that
guys? Hold on, let me make my point. When you skirt the edge of the event horizon of the black hole, when redshift happens and basically light kind of stands still, okay, you're experiencing major time distortion just by basic physics. So by the time they escaped from that gravity of the black hole, by the end of the episode, they should have been hundreds of years in the future, because time would have been slow for them, but it would have been fast on the outside of that gravity well. So it's little things like this which just drive me crazy, especially with modern Star Trek, because of the way like all the stars exploded in Discovery season 2 and all that other stuff. Like light doesn't work like that. And you would think that the writers could come up with something a little bit more believable to make this show good. And again, this is kind of nitpicky, but I mean, it's science, right?
It's good stuff. So also established canon. So they're basically using the same type of maneuver they used in Assignment Earth and Star Trek 4, where they're slingshotting around. I mean, like,
so they're not going to work.
It's not the sun or whatever, but like, well, I don't know. They're like, just that alone, they travel through time. So if you're doing this with the black hole, Kadish is right, man. You kind of just tore this episode apart for me. There should have been at the very least, something funny, like from
the
Space Pirates or Ice Pirates. You know what I mean? Where like,
they would have exited. They would have exited in the modern Discovery time era. like they would have been 1,000 years in the future, right? Because time would have been
like Ice Pirates, where like maybe they go into the future and then the past and then the future and then the past.
Danny, the way that time distortion works around a black hole is that because time can't escape a black hole, just like everything else.
Right.
Everything slows down. So it would have seemed like a couple minutes on the Enterprise, but in reality, like years would have passed, like thousands of years. So by the time they escape that gravity and get back to normal like gravity, they would have missed like 1,000 years worth of advancement.
Should that have been a brown dwarf around a dying star instead of a black hole, you think, or something like that?
Something they shouldn't have put a black hole in there.
Yeah, they shouldn't have. Now that
well, someday we'll get actual scientists on the show again to talk.
How hard is it to hire a consultant?
But in the meantime,
how hard is it to Google? How hard is it to Google?
Yeah, right.
In the meantime, Mr. Brian has dropped some cheddar on us a couple times, and
may I?
Just want to say we miss you.
Super chat.
I miss you, dude. Sorry I couldn't make it. Yeah, we miss you too, Brian. Especially I would have liked to have heard your stuff about my science nitpicks.
So
when I see you, I'll show you my brown dwarf.
Yeah,
it's okay. Hey, they actually
that sounds really wrong.
Gross.
It kind of
sounds very wrong.
I don't mind.
It's either really gross or really racist, one of the two.
So I don't know if they want me even sharing this. So Brian, I'll give you a couple seconds to say stop. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. They commissioned me. I'm going to be doing a shirt design for them that's going to be featured in some of their videos for the Orville coming up. So I'm super stoked about that. So yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we've talked about the new Strange New Worlds episode. Real quick, just couple lines. Overall, what would you rate this episode, Vader?
I put it about the same place I put the other 4. I think I was giving them like 6.5, 7s, right around in there. Nothing.
All right. What about you, Michael?
So far, I think it's the best of the bunch. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was their first combat-oriented episode, but it was Trek combat. It was really Trek combat, where they're not trying to pick a fight; they're trying to avoid a fight and survive.
Yeah, Vader, can you call up that super chat real quick?
Super chat.
So I want to address this. When I saw that episode of the Orville, I had major criticisms for it, because the fact that they hid in a black hole, I was like, yeah, that's bad. That was
stupid.
Terrible. That was really stupid. So
Are we
at least
haters?
At least I'm consistent with my nitpicks on this stuff. Anyway, Danny, what did you rate this episode?
Well, it was an 8, and then you just blew my mind with science, because I'm an idiot and I didn't know the real science, so I believed what they fed me. So now I guess it's got to be a 7. It's got to dock at least 1 point. So
So I agree with Michael. This is my favorite episode of the series so far, despite my nitpicks of it. I really enjoyed it a lot. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10 as well. So let's talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Not the character, the series.
I didn't know we were going to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi today.
Did you watch it?
I've seen it twice.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's chat about it. So basically, the first 2 episodes dropped on Disney Plus, and we're going to be getting into some spoilers. If we want to call up the podcast super chat real quick before we get into that.
You need to slow your roll.
Super
I will get there.
Chat.
Yeah.
The podcast for $5. One more. Calculating time dilation in theory. 1 minus whatever. Math.
Blah, blah,
Power
blah,
of math,
okay.
people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
See, that's some calculus BS right there.
So getting into Kenobi, what did you guys think of the first 2 episodes? Vader, what was your take on episodes 1 and 2?
I already got this all out of my system yesterday. I thought Darth Burnham was really good.
Yes, that was you that said that. That was you. I love that. Darth Burnham. Yes. Gotta make that a hashtag.
Listen, man. I don't know. Darth Burnham. Fuck Darth Burnham, dude. Yeah. I can't stand her.
Me either, bro.
Wow. I feel like
the rumor is she's going to be the
guys. Let Vader talk.
Sorry.
I don't know what to say, dude. You threw me with this topic. I didn't know we were going to talk about it today. I was not prepared like normal, but I'm having a hard time with this show. It just doesn't seem very Star Wars to me. The whole, I don't know. I don't know. The whole Darth Burnham, whatever. What is her name? Reva thing. Yeah, I know. I've heard this. I've heard the spoilers, and I know where it's going because they seem to be spot on so far. And I'm going to be extremely pissed off when the series is over with.
Yeah, let's not get into those spoilers.
But I can't just get it out of my head because I see it happening. I'm trying to watch this show and just enjoy it for what it is. And there's some stuff I've liked about it. You know, I like seeing Obi-Wan on the screen again. I like seeing the kids. I like seeing a precocious little Leia running around out there doing her thing. It's kind of fun. But I don't know, man. I'm having a hard time with it. I did not need to see her mad Batman jumping around on the roof skills either. You know, it's just stuff like that is just dumb as hell. It's like, what are you doing? You know, but yeah, man, I feel like I'm just going to be filled with anger and rage when this series is over with, and I don't know what else to say. Yeah.
All right, Michael, what did you think of the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan?
I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I loved. I mean, I don't know who the little girl is they cast as Leia, but holy crap, was
she's
she
from
awesome.
the Bird, that Netflix movie with the Sandra Bullock. Bird Box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's a little girl. From
Well, whatever she's from, she was perfect. She absolutely was. She had just the right amount of sass to be baby Leia. So I absolutely loved her. I think that it was a nice take on the Obi-Wan character, that, you know, someone who had lost the war and was kind of burnt out after all of that, but now is kind of coming back to the fight. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you that and this is a big problem with the fandom right now, is people trying to dig up and find, you know, why are we so obsessed with finding out what the story is before the story's out? You know, I really am tired of people like, oh, we got to find out how it's going to end before the thing even comes out. Just take it for what it is. If it goes in a direction we don't like, we can talk about it at that point. But for right now, let's just enjoy it and watch it for what it is. And I honestly think that, and I think this happened to a certain extent with the sequels. Now, granted, I know the sequels were a directionless mess, but I do think we could have enjoyed them a little bit more if we didn't know what was going to happen before they happened. And because we keep doing this where it's like, oh, we know the story and we've already decided that this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, so that when it happens, we're already got our hands crossed. We're like, yep, I knew that was going to suck.
Yeah. So I want to make it clear, like I've specifically avoided all the leak rumors and stuff like that because I want.
Well, someone came onto my live stream last night and dropped a couple
and ruined it for me.
Yeah,
I want to go into the show unspoiled, and so like we're not going to talk about what people have reported. We're just going to stick to these two episodes, and that's it. So Danny, what did you think of episodes 1 and 2?
So yesterday in Vader, you can attest to this. This is true. I had 3 people reach out to me during the stream I was on yesterday to ask me if I was okay. Vader was one of them. You remember that, bro?
Yeah, you look a little off, buddy.
here's the thing, because I was so okay. So you guys have taken, if we all taken the SAT, like I'm dating myself here, but like those. So hear me out here. This is so. Picard is to the legacy of TNG's Picard as Obi-Wan Kenobi is to my love for the character Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think I'm going to stop watching this show, to be honest with you, because some jerk off ruined it for me yesterday and told me what's going to happen. And I totally believe that crap will happen. And if that crap happens, I don't want to watch it. I would be happier right now. I mean, I love you guys, but I would be happier right now had I never watched Picard. You know what I mean? I like my memories of Captain Picard would be better. My love for the character would be better. I just, and I don't want that to happen to Obi-Wan. I really don't. So I think I'm not going to watch anymore. The first episode for me was extremely boring and heartbreaking. And the reason I wasn't, like, people were asking, because I wasn't talking yesterday, because I try not to be, I'm not salty dork. You know what I mean? I try to be the one shining ray of positivity amongst all you salty fuckers. But I can't with this show. Like, I'm sorry. I don't understand what you're seeing, Mike. This show is, it's terrible. It's just terrible. It's terrible. And I'm not going to watch any more of it.
Terrible.
It is. No, I'm not going to watch any more of it unless in a few weeks you guys tell me, oh, it's great, but I'm not, I can't. It just,
well, we've only got 4 more episodes. So
it just reminded me too much of Picard. You guys get that now? Like, it just reminds me, so.
So overall, I'm very meh on this show so far after 2 episodes. And I thought the first episode was kind of slow, laborious, and boring. I felt like the second episode used way too many plot contrivances that didn't make a whole lot of sense because the writers of this show don't know how to actually drive action forward. And overall, like, I'm just kind of middle of the road on it. I was never a big fan of the prequel trilogy. I didn't have any real attachment to Ewan McGregor's portrayal of Obi-Wan. To me, Obi-Wan's always Sir Alec Guinness. So I have a different perspective on this show than probably other people, but I want to talk about some specifics. So the first thing I want to touch on is basically Obi-Wan is now like some type of like fish market dude whose job is to carve up sand whale meat that someone pays him, kind of like a laborious wage for. I'm just wondering, like, in a society where droids exist, why are they paying actual humans to do this menial job of like cutting up sand whale meat? Vader, do you have any thoughts on that?
No. You come up with the weirdest ass questions.
Yeah, you do.
Well, it's a big part of the show.
You're such a nitpicker, man. I mean, I hate this show for other reasons, not because they put Obi-Wan Kenobi down there undercover in some laborious menial job. I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, they have droids for things, but people still have to eat. I guess are they supposed to like just not do anything? I don't get where you're going with that. It's just
yeah. What's he supposed to do? Starve to death because he can't get a job?
I don't get it.
I mean, there are other ways to get jobs, but that
what's he supposed to do? He's on Tatooine. It's a desert planet. So
what I'm saying is that particular menial job could easily be done by droids in this universe, and should
every
be.
job on Tatooine could be
yeah.
done by droids.
That's
Literally
not necessarily
everyone.
true. But
What job on
I just found it
Tatooine
odd.
could not be done by droids?
I don't know, engineering.
What engineering job couldn't you have those stupid little pop-up droids can do all the engineering work.
It like none of guys. Have you guys seen that abomination called The Last Jedi?
No, we've never seen it. Never heard of
I
it.
think I blocked it out of my memory.
I see, because it's so terrible, because it totally just shits on Luke Skywalker. Do we agree on that or no?
Oh yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
No,
So,
I mean I
feel
love
like
watching Luke drink green milk right out of the teat.
like in the hour and a half of Obi-Wan Kenobi I've watched already, like it feel like I'm not watching this unless you guys tell me in a couple weeks it's good. Like it's all just crapping on Obi-Wan. I hate it. I don't like any of it.
I will say the one scene I did like in the first episode was when Obi-Wan is dealing with that Jawa who like keeps stealing his shit and like reselling it to him. I thought that was a fun scene.
Cute moments, funny moments, like in episode 2, like whoever was talking about the banter with the sassy little girl. Cool. You know what? Yeah, there were a couple moments, nuggets of crap I enjoyed, but overall, like that's not. It doesn't.
And
this is why I didn't talk yesterday, man. I hate being negative. You know, I hate it.
The other scene I want to point out that I really liked was Uncle Owen being a complete boss, especially like in the face of that Inquisitor.
Oh yeah,
I was just like, God damn, Owen's a boss.
When he was like, "Yeah, Jedi are vermin. I kill vermin on my
farm."
Yeah, but even as Riv is like, I'm going to kill this guy and his entire family, and Owen's just like, fuck you.
Yeah,
you know, like
I also liked Kamal.
We're going to get to him.
Again, you were talking about moments. Am I dying on this hill alone? Like overall, this is just garbage. This is just garbage. I guess
I think I'm the only one that liked it.
I pointed out 2 moments that I liked in the first episode. There was a lot to not like in this show, and we're going to get to some of those. But the biggest issue I had with episode 1 is you have this random Jedi, right, who for 30 years or however long it's been, 10 years or something like that, years. The Inquisitors, with all their resources, haven't been able to find Obi-Wan, and yet this Jedi finds him in the middle of the desert, like with no problem whatsoever. So, like, how does that work? Especially considering the fact that Obi-Wan has cut himself off from the Force. He doesn't have anything to do with like Jedi stuff anymore. How did this one Jedi track him down where the Inquisitors couldn't?
It makes no sense. You're absolutely correct.
It was the will of the Force.
No, sorry.
So it's pretty obvious that Obi-Wan has cut himself off from the Force.
That's what you can say with Star Wars. Anytime there's a contrivance, you say it's the will of the Force. That's Star Wars.
He has cut himself off from the Force in the story they have established.
He never said he cut him. He's not Luke. He never said he cut himself off from the Force. The only thing he said is that if he uses the Force, it will attract the attention of the Inquisitors.
I made the analogy yesterday that Obi-Wan was just kind of out of practice. He hasn't been using it. He's purposely he hasn't cut him. I don't feel like he's cut himself off, but he's been purposely not using his skills,
right.
And that's part of the problem I have with this show is that, hold on a second. That's part of the problem I have with this show is that to me, when they set this whole thing up back at the end of episode 3, Obi-Wan is supposed to be on that planet. He's supposed to be watching over Luke. He's supposed to be watching over the farmstead. He's supposed to be learning new ways of the Force. He's supposed to be practicing his craft, communing with Qui-Gon Jinn in his cave, which they fucking trolled us with. When they did at the start of the show,
in the previously,
and the way they said it, it was completely wrong how they set that up.
But you know what? I'm still thinking there's going to be a cameo.
There probably will be at the end. The big ending is like he's going to be back in his cave at the end of the last episode, and he's going to be meditating, and Qui-Gon Jinn is going to appear to him, and then for the next 20 years until Luke comes back to whatever, then he'll be fine. But the way they had this set up, it's just it made no sense to me. And like they did a Luke Skywalker where he's just some bumbling hermit who's lost his way in the desert who doesn't remember how to freaking levitate a rock. it was crazy. It made no sense. But anyway, go ahead. Whoever's next.
So, the whole thing about the will of the Force. So was it the will of the Force that Obi-Wan turned his back on a Jedi in need and let the guy get killed? Was that a?
None of this shit makes sense. God, I can't. I'm sorry. Just.
Also, let's talk about the opening of this episode, where we basically get a flashback to the Jedi Temple massacre during Order 66.
So,
one of my big issues with Order 66, especially at the Jedi Temple, is you have Jedi who are at like the height of their powers, the height of their training, basically being taken down by 1 or 2 clone troopers. And I feel like Jedi
one or
been
two.
using
Dude, there's like divisions.
Yeah, what are you talking about? What are you clone troopers? They're getting swarmed.
Hold on. In total, but I mean, like, you have like two clone troopers at a time coming at them, and they're easily able to use force push, force speed, like a lot of force powers in addition to their deflection with the lightsabers to take these guys out. I mean, like, one Jedi is worth like 100 clone troopers, right? So like, why are they getting mowed down so easily?
So first off, it depends on the Jedi. Not every Jedi is a full-blown, Anakin level, Obi-Wan level Jedi master.
Right.
There's all kinds of different levels. There's librarians in there. There's teachers.
This lady was teaching a class to younglings.
Yeah, for sure. And the scene in episode 3 is you have Darth Vader, you have Anakin leading an entire freaking division of troops going into the front door of the Jedi Academy. I mean, they're absolutely going to end up taking.
And keep in mind, all the powerful Jedi were busy fighting the war.
Mm-hmm.
Evil will always triumph because good is dumb. That's totally love that. Whoever sent that in.
So this opening scene is basically the origin story of Sister Reva, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
one of the younglings.
Yes, she's the yes. Yeah, and that's what we determined last night.
I'm guessing, again, no spoilers, and I haven't seen the spoilers, but I'm guessing that this is where Anakin finds her and makes her his secret apprentice or something.
Oh, I don't know. That's not what I've heard. That would be way better. Okay. That would be way better.
Danny, you sound like you need to get something out of your system, so go for it.
No,
let the hate consume you.
I can't. I don't want to do it.
Do it.
Just. When the episode opened, because here's the thing, I really actually am one of these dudes that likes episode 3 a lot, and I've talked about this before. I think a lot of it had to do because of my son, and I went to Celebration 3 with him in the RV, and then we saw it live, and he had this amazing dreamlike experience where everybody, because he was like 8 or 9 at the time, and everybody was like, and we had these really awesome lightsabers, and everybody was chanting, calling him Anakin, and he had this lightsaber duel in front of the theater with this guy who was jumping around and knew how to do cool stuff and made my son look like $1 million. It was awesome. So there's a lot of things. So when I'm watching that previously on, and they're showing a lot of the clips from the prequels, I started getting, I have a thing right there of me and my son as Obi-Wan and Anakin. You've seen it, Case. You've been here. I actually really have a lot of affection for that movie. It's the only prequel I like of the prequels, but and I like it. But I think it has more to do with my life experience and the stuff with my kid. Anyway, so I got really excited, and then they start the scene after that with Order 66. And I was actually really excited because I was like, oh yeah, yes, go there, set the tone. And then they shit the bed, and everything I saw after that was terrible. And I felt like Picard, but I was thankful that I didn't have to watch 2 episodes before they let me down. I only had to watch like 5 minutes, and then I got let down right off the bat. So.
All right, let's move on to episode 2 here. So the first thing I wanted to point out is Hobo Tamora Morrison and his little cameo in episode 2. That was kind of weird, but
Did you see how he came up in the credits? That was even weirder.
How did he come up in the credits?
He was like in the visual effects voiceover section. He wasn't even in the regular like guest starring or what. So I don't think that was actually him. I think they put his face on somebody and he did the voice. Like, I'll have to go back, but like, because of where they placed him in the credits, I'm just like,
okay.
No, it was
So
an interesting little cameo.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but my biggest problem with episode 2 is that it's littered with these plot contrivances that are kind of thrust in there for no logical reason other than, okay, we need something to make action happen at a certain point. So the first one I want to talk about is young Leia basically all of a sudden doing a 180, not trusting Obi-Wan, and then running away and exposing them to all the bounty hunters that are on the prowl for them. And as people are firing at her and Obi-Wan, she just keeps running, keeps not trusting him. All Obi-Wan had to do was, the minute she starts running in the alley, just use the Force to like lift her up and be like, "See, I really am a Jedi," and then she'd be like, "Okay, cool."
But he can't do it yet, though.
Well, I mean, he could, but he chose not
No,
to.
no,
And-
he really can't, because he couldn't use his Force powers until he was forced to use it when she was falling off the roof.
Okay. I'll grant you, your little headcanon piece there.
It's not headcanon. It's right in the fucking show.
But the point is that the whole thing about Leia suddenly distrusting the person who's rescuing her and running away as people are shooting at her and him, and then like making that leap and like catching onto that laundry line or like whatever. That whole thing was just so that they could have like an action scene that reveals their location to Reva so she can do the Batwoman thing on the rooftops and all that other stuff. It didn't make any real sense within the logic of the show, especially considering how much they set up of Leia being smart for her age. Michael, you have your hand up. What do you want to say?
Do you have kids?
You stole my line. You stole my line.
Huh?
You stole my line. Oh,
you do have kids?
I do have kids, yes.
How old are they?
My kid is 8.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait until your kid's 10.
Amen. No, kids are dumbasses, bro.
Yeah, kids will do crap like that.
They do, man. You'll see.
Kids do not behave logically.
No.
And so
I want to point out that there's a difference between between real life behavior and between story logic. So there are moments when you're writing a story, especially a TV show or like some type of fictional tale, where you need to make the characters as smart or smarter than the audience. And that means that if there was a situation where Obi-Wan and Leia were forced to run through the markets and over the rooftops and stuff like that because something happened that thrust them into that situation, that would have been one thing. But the fact that they made Leia, who by all accounts was a very smart young lady, act stupid all of a sudden for the sake of the plot to move forward.
But she wasn't
bad
stupid.
writing.
But actually,
she was stupid.
No, she
was
wasn't
kind of
stupid.
She was kind of overthinking.
But here's where I don't think she was stupid, and I think that you're not giving her some credit. Is what she did figure out was that the reason that everybody's after them was because of him. That in fact, the reason she was kidnapped in the first place was because of him.
How did she figure that out?
Because
the fact that there's a bounty on him?
Because everybody was after him, not her.
Yeah. And she brings this.
And so why does that guy have your face on his phone or whatever?
Right. So she figured out that if she gets away from him, she'll be safe.
Yeah. It's kid logic, man.
I actually thought that was set up.
Right.
Yeah.
So in actuality, she was using in child logic. She's like, well, wait a minute. If all the bad guys are after him, all I got to do is get away from him, and I will be safe.
I think this will be a fun social experiment. We need to time stamp this, or make a reminder. In 2.5 years, I want to rehab this conversation with Kadish because he says kids hate. You know what I mean? I just want to see if his perspective changes.
It doesn't matter how my kid behaves. What I'm talking about is story logic, and
right. But I think that does make sense. That it's not you're acting like it's this crazy contrivance, but in actuality, I think that it showed that she reasoned that everybody's after this guy, not after me.
I hate that you're
seems
having
like-
me defend this show because I actually
Yeah.
hate this show. I just don't
Right.
agree with this nitpick. But so don't
Right.
be, I don't want people to get it wrong. I don't
not
like
a
the
nitpick.
show. This show.
Don't worry. I know you hate the show. I'm not
so-
suggesting.
so
that
I
you
just
love
bought
the show.
that because I'm a parent of kids who've done equally stupid shit.
Speaking of hating the show, let's talk about a new character played by Kumail Nanjiani, the fake Jedi Hajja Estree, who was introduced in this episode.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of odd that this guy, who's obviously a fraud and someone who's kind of selfish, he's out for himself, he just wants to make some money. All of a sudden, he has this turn where he's like, "Oh, you're a real Jedi? Well, that changes everything." And then he goes off and he basically tries to sacrifice himself for Obi-Wan in front of Reva by saying like, "Oh, I'm the Jedi you're looking for," and then she's like, "No, you're not." Then she uses the Kylo Ren technique of force mind reading to figure out where he sent the people. And Obi-Wan would have been a lot safer if he had just like if Hajja Estree had just fucked back off to his little smuggler cave
If
or whatever.
people want to see a head explode, text your friends now. Get them on our channel because my head is about to explode. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so like that whole thing was a big plot contrivance just to lead Reva to Obi-Wan at the docking ship. But I want to know, what do you guys think of this Hajja Estree character? And do you think it was a good idea to have him just like show up and be like, "Hey, I'm the Jedi you're looking for," and then lead them to Obi-Wan? Vader, what do you think of that?
I didn't really like his character. And like you said, I thought the turn that he made was very strange and kind of off-putting. It's like, oh well, hey, all of a sudden I got this stuff set up in this warehouse up there. If you take this code and do this and that and this and the other, and we'll get you out of here nice and safe. But but before that, he was just like some kind of 2-bit swindler. It didn't make a lot of sense to me at all. It's just, when you say plot contrivance, I'm completely with you on this one for sure. Danny, why don't you explode your brain, dude? Go, please. Feel free. Go ahead.
There's so much wrong with this. First of all, okay. I don't even know where to start because there's so many different. Okay, so right now in this timeline that they've set up, Jedi are being hunted by the Inquisitors. They're like public enemy number one, and it's been 10 years of this, right? And so, you mean to tell me you got some guy, some con artist who's working this long con of pretending to be a Jedi, so much so that people know about it and are talking about it? But you mean to tell me the Inquisitors, one, never heard of this guy to the point to where they go kill him, because they don't know he's fake, or two, aren't familiar with him because they've already vetted him and found out that he's harmless because he's fake and he's not really a Jedi and maybe kind of helps their cause, or three, that this scumbag of a whatever is grifting all these people, pretending to be a Jedi with his smoke and mirror carny act. Like none of it. I'm trying to be calm, because I almost yelled a second ago, and I know you guys don't like that. I'm sorry, but I fucking hate everything about this show. I'm sorry.
It's okay, man.
It's terrible.
Michael,
I think you guys are full of crap. I don't think.
I guess we are.
No, because I don't see how the character made a change or a turn at all.
Are you kidding me?
What, will you let me finish?
Sorry, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. Is he a swindler? Absolutely. Did the character change? No, he did not. Because with the lady and her kid, did he take their money? Yes. Did he help them get off the planet? Yes, he did. He actually does help people. He actually explains this to Obi-Wan, but he just likes to get some credits along the way. But he actually does have connections to get people off the planet.
Let's say
he genuinely wants to help. He cares about people, but he also likes to get money. Okay.
Let's say I agree with that for a second, just for a second. Okay. Let's say, okay, I buy that. You've sold me. Then why haven't the Inquisitors killed this dude yet? How do they not know about
this? Because the Inquisitors don't care about him because he's not a Jedi.
Well,
he's not a real Jedi. I mean,
if-
she sat right there, Danny, and read his brain and knew immediately.
No,
what his
I know that,
plan
but
was.
she didn't know of him beforehand. Yet she's third sister
because
on
the Inquisitors are only
and,
the Inquisitors are running around detect. Like, remember when the Inquisitors show up on Tatooine, the first thing they say is, "Your guys there's a Jedi on this planet," because they can detect that there is a Jedi. They just can't locate the Jedi. Like, it's kind of like when in the first Star Wars, I refuse to call it A New Hope because it's just called Star Wars. But when Darth Vader could detect that Obi-Wan was somewhere in the area, but you can't pinpoint it.
I get what you're saying, dude.
Yeah.
But my point is, if this dude has convinced enough people that he's a Jedi, they're talking about it in like bars and everywhere, and be like, "Oh, you need help? This Jedi can help you," because that's how Obi-Wan.
They're not talking about it.
Yes, they are.
He's got his little ringer running around looking for people that need help, saying, "Hey, you need a Jedi? I can help you."
Enough of that happens. Enough chatter. Okay.
There's nobody running around saying, "Hey, you never see in the episode people in bars saying, "Hey, did you hear there's a Jedi?" No, you got this one kid who's going, "Hey, you need help? I know a Jedi that can help you." That's all we see in the episode. You're adding stuff to it.
I'm not, dude. Like, you think loose lips sink ships.
Where in the episode do you see people in the bar talking about Jedis that for sale that can help you? You don't. The only one you see is the kid who says.
Oh, and you think that's the only time he's done it?
Guys, hold on.
Overheard somebody at a bar.
Calm down.
The only time.
Hold on,
in
Michael.
the
Hold
episode
on,
is the
Michael.
kid.
Michael, hold on. All right. So my question is, why does this character feel the need to impersonate a Jedi to get people safely off the planet?
Because people know that
why
Jedi
wouldn't he just be like, "I'm a smuggler. I got connections. I can help you get off the planet." Like,
because people
the whole thing with
know
the magnets and stuff like that.
Because people know for a fact, everybody
they
knows.
were trying to be cute and funny. It's stupid. It doesn't make any.
Well, at this
on.
point, at this point in the Star Wars canon, right? Jedi are hunted down. They're basically they bring you more danger than they do help you. So why would you want to be associated?
But people deep down know that what do Jedi do? They help people. If you say smuggler, if you say pirate, then you know what you think? Criminal. If you say Jedi, you think someone who wants to help. And so, and now all of them are illegal, but at least you trust a Jedi isn't going to stab you in the back and take your credits. Okay.
I also I think that it's just it was a weird use of a character for comedic purposes, because Kumail Nanjiani is a comedic actor, and it felt like they were giving him something to do in order for him to be funny. But there was a scene where basically his little street assistant, the little black kid, comes in, shows him the bounty on Obi-Wan, says we had this guy, and he's like, "You're right, let's go do it." And then the next time we see him, he's like, "You know what? I want to help you. I wish you had told me that you were an actual Jedi. That way, it would have been a different conversation." But it just seemed like a very odd kind of turn of events for me. It seemed very convenient as well. It was like nobody, the sisters can't track Obi-Wan to that alley, but the fake Jedi instantly knows where he is.
Maybe the reason he pretends to be a Jedi is because he's a huge fanboy of the Jedis.
Or maybe it's because they thought it would be funny and they could stunt cast this comedian, and it makes no fucking sense whatsoever. I'd rather talk to you guys
as a writer, right? The proper way to do this would have been to make him Obi-Wan's sidekick for the time he was on the planet, so we get some character development. He helps him rescue Leia. Helps him kind of navigate the.
I'm not saying that there wouldn't be better ways that they could have written it. I'm not calling the show flawless, but I'm saying that I don't see how the character suddenly had this massive shift from ruthless criminal to saint. I'm saying that he was trying to help people.
They didn't set him up enough.
But when I first saw him,
he's a gutter slug. But anyway,
no, I saw that he was genuinely trying to help people and taking some money for himself. Oh wow, I didn't realize I had an actual Jedi in here. let me see if I can get this guy off planet.
So let's get to the big moment of this episode, okay? Which is basically Obi-Wan finds out that Anakin is Darth Vader. That was like the ending of this episode. That was the big reveal. And you know, they kind of established that, you know, the Jedi aren't aware of who Darth Vader actually is. It was either the Clone Wars or Rebels, where Ahsoka basically is facing off against Vader and his TIE fighter, and she senses that it's Anakin. Yeah, and so here we see Obi-Wan discover that, you know, his former apprentice is alive, and he's in the form of Darth Vader. And it was supposed to be a very big reveal and a very big emotional moment for him, but I felt like it felt very flat. So I wanted to get your guys' take on this. Vader, what did you think of this big reveal?
Well, the thing that pissed me off was that I don't know how Reva would ever have known that Darth Vader was Anakin to begin with. So that alone just kind of completely took me out of it. I mean, if that's the case, I feel like Darth Vader should just just whack her if she's using that information to do things. You know what I'm saying, Danny? You're muted, but it's just I didn't like it. I don't know what else to say about it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Nobody's supposed to know who Darth Vader is other than the Emperor and I guess Obi-Wan Kenobi. So yeah.
What about you, Michael? What did you think of the big reveal?
Well, first of all, I want to say this: it wasn't for Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan knew Darth Vader was Anakin. It was when she said I'm going to take you to Darth Vader, and that's when Obi-Wan was like, "Holy crap!" And then she goes, "Yeah," because she could sense that he was shocked by that, and then she said, "Yes, Anakin Skywalker is alive," because she sensed that he was shocked when she said, "I was going to take you to Darth Vader." So now what I don't know, because I don't watch the cartoons, I know people always argue about the you know, I've always, you know, I say, hey, you know, I love live action Star Wars. I don't really care about cartoons. But in the Clone Wars, I'm assuming that Obi-Wan was well aware that Darth Vader was alive. And because Ahsoka obviously fought Darth Vader, and Ahsoka knew Obi-Wan, so
Ahsoka didn't know Darth Vader was Anakin until they brought it up. Anakin is supposed to be dead. To my knowledge, up until this point,
but
Obi-Wan thought Anakin was dead.
In episode 4 or Star Wars, Anakin or Obi-Wan he conveyed, you know, unless he's, you know, maybe he was lying, but he
was lying.
He thinks that he's dead
because
although I don't care about any, you know, I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you guys finish because I got a lot to say, and I still need to breathe a little bit more. Sorry.
Remember in episode 3 in the hollow whatever you call it, the security holograms, he sees the Emperor referred to Anakin as Darth Vader. If you go back, watch episode 3, you will see that Obi-Wan sees the Emperor refer to Anakin as Darth Vader. So there's no getting around that Obi-Wan knew who Darth Vader was.
Then why was it such a shock to him at the end of episode 2?
Well, at the end of episode 2, it wasn't that the big reveal wasn't that he finds out that Anakin is Darth Vader. It was that Darth Vader is alive. That was the shock. He thought Darth Vader was dead because at least the feeling that I got was that I thought that he was under the impression that he died on Mustafar.
All right, Danny, you obviously have a lot to say, so let's hear you say it.
All right, so I'm sorry. I just want to address a couple things in the chat first, if that's okay. Anima, Nobody has, and I'm deeply saddened that it has been recorded and will stay on the internet forever. But it is what it is. Chris, no, I won't. I stopped watching Discovery. I regretted watching Picard. Unless these guys come back and tell me at the end of it it's worth watching, I'm done. Like, I'm not. I'd rather watch wrestling. You know, I only have a finite amount of time in my life to watch stuff. So Vader, thank you for backing me up. Vader knows me. He knows. Like, yeah, when I'm done. Like, I'm not going to be talking about Obi-Wan anymore after this week, because I'm a heart attack survivor, guys. You know, I had a heart attack in 2016. I don't even, like, my blood pressure is through the roof right now. It's terrible. My heart rate is like 98. That's just, it's almost tachycardia. Anyway, so I wanted to address that. Also, things that Michael's already brought up. Obi-Wan knew that he was Vader from episode 3. And I didn't think it was that far of a jump, Vader, for Reva to know, because they set up at the beginning of the episode that she was one of the Padawans. And, you know, we all saw the scene. Master Skywalker, there's too many of them. What are we going to do? And then he kills them all. So, like, you know, I feel like maybe the kids there know that, oh, wow, Anakin turned to the dark side and became Darth Vader. You know, it's not public knowledge, but, like, I feel like it wasn't too far of a stretch. Again, I'm not trying to defend this dumpster fire of a show, in my opinion. I'm just like, these are just things I didn't have problems with. What I had a problem with was, so here's the proper response, I think. So when she says the line and they cut to Obi-Wan and it's just like tight on his face and he's tearing up and he's trying to do all that emoting and just acting with his face, I literally laughed out loud. I did. I literally laughed out loud, because that shouldn't been. Thank you, Anima. That shouldn't have been. That it wasn't that kind. It wasn't like an M. Night Shyamalan twist. It did nothing for me. Like, literally, I hate this show. Next week, if you guys want to talk about it, when we're done with Star Trek, I'll tell you how much I love you and tell you where to follow me, and I'll dip out. But I'm not watching any more of this show for a while. You know, it's just terrible.
Well, I didn't know we were talking about it today. So
Super chat.
Fluffy Panda for $5. Once again, these morons don't read their own crap. They just wanted a stupid, shocking reveal like in Empire Strikes Back, and Reva too savage for the Inquisitors. Maybe.
And isn't the Grand Inquisitor still alive in Rebels?
Yeah,
but she kills him, and then, like, so
yeah,
he's
it's
not
stupid.
dead. Yeah,
he's not dead.
Yeah,
his heart must be in a different place.
Yeah.
When does Rebels take place?
It's after this.
It's after this.
Yeah, because I asked that yesterday to make sure, and then everybody was very adamant it was after this. So.
Okay. Anyway, guys,
you got to remember that the all the cartoons, all the Clone Wars, Rebels, whatever, those are all hard canon.
Yeah, no, Disney is.
I mean, they can't go off of those things because they are all. It's not like other shows where cartoons, comic books, whatever. Star Wars has specifically stated that the cartoons, the Filoniverse, is hard canon, and all of the shows that we're getting on Disney Plus are directly related to all of these animated shows. Yeah. All the characters come from the animated shows.
In fact, who do you think that vagabond was, or the homeless 501st guy? Who do you think?
I don't know.
Do you think it was Rex, or do you think it was Cody, or do you think
honestly, I don't care. I don't know.
You know what's interesting though is that in the credits for episode 2, first thing you see is a special thanks to Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
Super chat
from Setlick Gaming, $5. Thank you, sir. Fire Kathleen Kennedy now. We've been saying that since 2018.
That, you know what? That's not going to fix anything. I think people need to stop saying that.
They'll just replace her with Michelle Rejwan or something and be worse than
someone worse. Yeah. Anyway, guys, very passionate episode today where we got into the weeds, especially on Star Wars.
I'm sorry,
I want to thank everyone in the chat for coming out and supporting us, especially those of you who gave us super chats. We really appreciate those. They go a long way to helping support the show. Matt Vader 74, where can people find more of you, and what are your final thoughts on Kenobi?
Kenobi, I don't know. They can find me down there at Matt Vader 74. Kenobi, like I said, I made the mistake of watching some of our friends' channels who go deep into the weeds and the spoilers and stuff, and I'm not happy. I'm not happy where it's going, and I'm going to watch it just because I'll need something to watch at 1 o'clock in the morning when I get home from work. But
wrestling, bro, wrestling's better. Watch that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Oh, there he is.
Oh wow, he wasn't kidding about the kid. I thought he was making it up.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. Star Wars has been kind of dead to me for a while now, and I'm having a really hard time finding my love for this franchise again because, I mean, look behind me, guys. I mean, I used to live, breathe, eat, shit, bathe in Star Wars. That's in my blood. My fucking avatars, Vader. It's just where this franchise is in a sad place, and I hate that it's been commandeered by idiots, and
Being
it's just
raped and pillaged by Kathleen Kennedy.
So it is what it is. I hope maybe someday it'll correct itself. I don't have any faith that it will, but in the meantime, whatever.
All right, Salty Trekker, where can people find more of you, and what are your final thoughts on the first 2 episodes of Kenobi?
Over in Salty Trekkers, my channel over here on YouTube. Also, I just kind of in the background help out the podcast guys, but unlike the other guys in this panel, I'm enjoying the newer Star Wars stuff. I love the Mandalorian. Book of Boba Fett, I think, was the weakest of the new Star Wars stuff. Unlike these guys, I've actually enjoyed so far Kenobi, and I don't know the spoilers. So if it goes downhill, I'll be the first person to join with you guys and call it a dumpster fire. But I'm so far, at least, I'm enjoying it. And the Strange New Worlds, I'm cautiously optimistic to say that Trek is back. If this is the kind of Trek we're going to get moving forward, this is the kind of Trek I can be happy with moving forward. And I'd like to see more shows like this. So I would love to see this being at the beginning of a new golden age of Star Trek.
Danny, where can people find more of you, and what are your final thoughts on Kenobi?
You can follow me right here at Dork Knight LV on all the socials. You can also find me on the now that I'm back from Texas. Sorry, I wasn't very active while I was gone, guys. But the was it saltynerddiscord.com, their Discord channel. I'm on there a lot. Just got back into it today, man. I had like over 100. It was like 99 plus was my icon from the Discord thing because I was gone. Because I have it on the computer here. Every time I turn my computer on, it just pops up and it's just always on. And for whatever reason, because of that, I don't always get the notifications on my phone. So, but anyways, so those are the ways to connect with me if you want to. And as far as I don't think it's any secret how I feel. I'm not going to watch any more of. That's cute. I'm going to watch. Hey, guy. Hey, buddy.
By the way, that's not actually Matt's kid. He's a rental.
Yes.
What? He didn't come from his ball sack?
No, he's a rental. He's a rental.
Oh, that's not nice. Don't refer to it as a rental.
Well, you haven't seen Rent a Kid? It's a great.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're derailing me, sir. Let me get back to that. Sorry. Obi-Wan. Here's the thing. If you guys saw our reviews of Picard, and you at all agreed with our assessment of what the show of Picard did to the character of Captain Picard, and you at all remotely have any kind of love for the character of Obi-Wan, and you have not seen any of this show yet, I beg of you, do yourself a favor and don't watch a single second of it. The only thing they did mercifully was cut my head off, so I died quickly because they let me know at the beginning that it was crap. Like I had about, like I said, 2 to 5 minutes of hope, and then it just went right off the cliff. This is you guys never hear me like this. I'm sorry, but like this is worse than Discovery, in my opinion. So yeah.
You are
All
very
right.
Mr. Optimistic most of the time. So
I am.
yeah.
So let me end it on a happy note. Fucking love Strange New Worlds. Love it. It's getting better every week. Let's keep that
Right
up.
on.
All right, we have one more super chat before we sign off.
We do. Oh.
Yeah, we do.
Super chat.
Dennis Wright for $1.99. Anyone watch Top Gun 2? Me and Vader are actually going to watch it on Monday morning.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet, dude? It's
No,
No.
not yet.
so good. I
Yeah.
love it.
For hearing good things.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
my favorite scene isn't even an action scene, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I won't say
Yeah,
anything. but
don't say
yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
Yeah, we
such
got
a
our
good
tickets
movie.
for Monday morning, and we're looking forward to seeing it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in this Saturday. Really appreciate it. Tune in next Saturday as we talk about Strange New Worlds and probably Obi-Wan Episode 3, most likely, unless it's going to kill Danny, and then we might skip over it. But hopefully Brian will be back with us next week. Anyway,
When
guys,
does-
thank you all.
When does
Huh?
Orville come out? Doesn't Orville start pretty soon?
Yeah, we
it
can
was
talk about
pretty recent.
Orville next week too.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk about Orville instead, please. Like,
All right. Well, talk about Orville. Anyway, guys, thank you all for coming by and tune in next Saturday.